What's up? David Landsface here, and we're doing the Ask Me Anything Answers video where I'm going to answer all your questions. Of course, I'm doing this video because I just hit 1,000 subscribers on YouTube. Again, thank you so much for that. It's an awesome achievement, and I'm already at like 1,035, so we're already well on our way to 2,000, and I don't know what I'm going to do for 2,000. Got about 5 pages of questions here that you guys asked, so this is probably going to be a very long video, so I would kind of treat it like a podcast, maybe open up another tab, do something else while you're listening to it, or if you want to look at my face, go ahead and watch the video that way and then go get your head checked. So, without any further ado, let's start this Ask Me Anything video, but first let's do that intro that we all love, and let's get into it. Okay, the first question is from Sam Fleming 11. He's over on Instagram. His question is, why did you start reviewing NASCAR diecasts? Well, I assume you're asking why I started reviewing like the NASCAR Authentics. Well, the simple explanation is that I was interested in them. I saw them at Walmart. I was interested in the price point, and the diecast themselves were very, to me, interesting. So I started buying a few of them. The first one I bought was the Joey Logano, not the Dollar General, but the Home Depot one. And then I bought a few more of them, and I just never saw any videos on YouTube. No one was doing any videos of them, period. No reviews or anything. So in 2012, I had just gone on a college visit to Ball State, and that's in Muncie, Indiana, if you don't know. And I went into a Walmart there, and I found 2 new cars. It was Jimmy Johnson's 48, the blue one with the stripes on it, and Carl Edwards, the Fastenal car. And that was when Spin Masters were really, really hard to find. You think they're hard to find now? Go back to 2012 and try to find them. So I found these new cars. Of course, no one had done any videos on them, so when I got home, I got this camera that you're looking at right now. I think it was the first video on YouTube that I shot with this camera that I'm filming this right now with, and I filmed a review. And that video got a lot of, a really good reception. Back in the day when at the beginning of my YouTube channel, I actually started doing Lego stop motions. Those are still up, so you can still watch them, but you might hear prepubescent David talking, so it's kind of weird. But yeah, so that's kind of, and it was kind of just uploading random whatever I wanted to do. I didn't really have a focus. And that video took off, so I did another Spin Master video at the start of 2013 with the Miracle Wave. And then in 2014, I did the first wave, and that video did incredibly well. Then Spin Master sent me their little care package that they sent to a lot of diecast reviewers. Somehow I got on that comp list, I don't know how. But then I started consistently doing all the waves, and a lot of the other Spin Master products. So that's kind of how I got into NASCAR reviews. I actually did an IndyCar review on my channel like back in 2010. That also is up if you want to watch that, but that's how I started with NASCAR diecasts. Okay, Ty Harris asks, he's from Twitter, how did you get into doing diecast reviews? Okay, I already answered that question, but he asked if I was inspired by anyone or anything. He also asked if another question that I'll get to in just a second, but he was asking if I was inspired by anybody or anything. Not really. I think the inspiration, like I said to the first question, was really just the fact that content was not out there, especially for NASCAR Authentics. People just didn't make videos about that. And a little bit of a secret to success on YouTube is if the videos you search for on YouTube and then you don't see them, well, if you don't see those videos, it's up to you to make them. Because, we are, as humans, like 98% all the same. So there's chances are there's somebody thinking the same as you, so make that video that people aren't able to see yet, and you'll probably start building a fan base. Ty also asked if I had met any NASCAR, IndyCar, F1 drivers. A bunch. I'll just go through kind of like the most famous ones I've met. Oh Lord, that'll take forever. Actually, let's just, I've met like Vitor Meira, Buddy Lazier, we're talking about IndyCar drivers. Boy, just, and then in terms of NASCAR, I'm trying to think of a NASCAR driver that I've actually met or talked to. Actually, I'm drawing a blank on that. Maybe I haven't met any NASCAR drivers, but I'm sure I have. I'm just not thinking of. In terms of F1, Nick Heidfeld's one that I've met. I'm trying to think, probably an IndyCar driver of some sort that's been in F1 at some point I've met. NASCAR drivers are notoriously hard to meet, I'm sure, as many of you guys know. So I would have to really think if I've met any NASCAR guys. Okay, Cam the Drummer BFI asks, how long have you been collecting diecasts? Well, that's an interesting question, and it's an answer to, well, let's see, I'm 21 years old, almost 22, will be 22 in July, pretty much all my life. There really hasn't been a point where I haven't been collecting them. Of course, as a kid I was more playing with them rather than collecting, but there hasn't really ever been a point where haven't ever walked into a store and like bought a Hot Wheels car or something. So pretty much all my life. 99 Frog Racing 19 asks, well, that's not really a question, but he says he was the 999th subscriber, and thank you for that. A smiley face. Why did you start collecting NASCAR Authentication, which I think he means NASCAR Authentics, and are you a NASCAR fan? If so, how long have you been one? I started collecting NASCAR Authentics right pretty much from the time they hit the stores, like I said in the first question. I saw the Joey Logano and started from there. In terms of, am I a NASCAR fan? I was probably bigger back when I was, younger, and NASCAR to me was a lot more interesting. It was just more of the races were more exciting, the cars looked better, the TV coverage was better, there was no Darrell Waltrip or Boogity 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 back then. These days NASCAR, they've gone so far in the, we want to make this like entertainment, it's hard for me to watch a lot of the times. It's hard for me to kind of get into it. I'll still watch the big races, but I'm not watching all the races that NASCAR has to offer because, frankly, I'm not interested in the product these days. Hopefully they go back to kind of where they were like 1998, and I like it a lot better. Okay, David Gonzalez asks, and he's on Twitter, what has been your favorite video/review you have done? Well, in terms of like my favorite video, I have to say the totally natural reaction I had to the Firestone Indy Lights race at Indianapolis in 2013. I was sitting in turn number 1, and I could look all the way down the straightaway, and I was filming with this camera. The best finish ever happens, and it's a 4 wide. They come 3 wide all the way through 3 and 4. And then Peter Dempsey goes around the outside and passes all 3 of the guys who are racing, and then just everybody, including myself, go crazy in the stands. And it actually got seen by Peter Dempsey, the winner of the race. He followed me on Twitter. It was really crazy, and that video is still being shared. It was like on some British F1 site just recently. So that's probably my favorite, just from the story perspective and the memory of having this video that kind of became viral and still is kind of viral, and it was just a lot of fun and a great natural reaction. Devin Whitaker asks, and I think he's an Instagram question, what part of Indiana are you from? Okay, so I don't really want to be too specific about where I'm from. I mean, you can look up that information if you're really interested, but I just prefer to, I don't want to really run into you guys in Walmart. I'd love to run into you guys at the racetrack, and if you guys actually do see me in public, say hi, I don't care. But just in case there are any crazy stalkers out there, I'd rather not be. But just imagine there are 3 states. I'm on the very top east corner of Indiana. So, like, I can literally throw a rock into Michigan or Ohio. So pretty much those 3 states right there, that's where I am. But actually, really, I was born in Battle Creek, Michigan. That's where I was born. And then, like, where I actually grew up was a town called Franklin, Indiana, which is just south of Indianapolis. And that's where I spent, like, the first, from like 3 years old. I think we moved in '95. So I was like 2.5, 3 years old. And I lived there all the way through the 12 years, or 13 years of school. And then 1 year of college, and then a year after that. So, like, most of my life was spent there, and now I live here. So, there you go. AJ Patterson, excuse me, asks, who is your favorite NASCAR driver and why? So, my favorite NASCAR driver, Well, it's changed over the years. When I first started watching NASCAR, like when I first realized I was watching NASCAR, which was like '96, it was Terry Labonte, and then it turned into Dale Jarrett, and now it's turned into Jeff Gordon. So, and now Jeff Gordon's retiring, so I gotta find a new one, and I'm probably inclined to say Dale Jr., as strange as that is, once Jeff Gordon leaves the sport. You wouldn't, as a Jeff Gordon fan, especially back in like the mid-2000s, you wouldn't be caught dead as a Dale Jr. fan, and vice versa. Now it's kind of changed, especially now that they're on the same team, and Junior fans haven't drank so much Budweiser these days. They used to be really bad. Remember that Talladega race where they like threw the beer can? Yeah, that was... Yeah. But now, being a Dale Jr. fan, you know, that's probably who I would become a fan of next year when Gordon's not in the race anymore. Oh, and I should say, Florida Lottery Cup Series, Grant Foray and Luke Kesley asked that as well. Cheerios Cup Series asks, which NASCAR driver and which IndyCar driver would you like to go back and see race if you weren't born yet? Ooh, that is a tough one. NASCAR driver I'd like to go back and see. I gotta really think about this one, because it's strange because NASCAR drivers have such a long tenure. You know, I'd probably like to go back into like the 80s and see like Earnhardt, Waltrip, Elliott, the King, all those guys racing each other. I'd like to go like to a pre-restrictor plate Talladega race. I think seeing like NASCARs at 212 miles an hour, no restrictor plates, no stupid pack racing, just pure racing. I'd like to go see that race where Bill Elliott was 2 laps down. He had like some problem at the very beginning of the race, came back and lapped the field. So he went 3 laps up on the whole field. That is what I would want to see. I think that would be the most exciting thing. In terms of IndyCar drivers, oh man, this is a tough one. Because there's so many great eras. I mean, when I was born was kind of when IndyCar, like, I was born in 93, so like 93, 94, 95, 96, like that was like IndyCar in its absolute best. So, you know, if you asked me absolutely like what I would want to go back and see, I mean, the mid-90s IndyCars would be amazing. And then if I couldn't do that because I was technically alive and I could have theoretically gone to a race, I would have to say that like the 60s, like when Jim Clark and Dan Gurney and all of them would come over from Formula One and race like Mario, AJ, Roger Ward, I mean all those guys racing at the same time. I mean amazing stuff in like the mid-60s IndyCar racing. So probably that if I couldn't go back to the 90s. And Jason Rockefeller also asked that question. So J-Man Reviews asks, who is your favorite IndyCar and Sprint Cup driver? Well, I answered the Sprint Cup driver one, that's Jeff Gordon. Favorite IndyCar driver, I have to say these days it's Joseph Newgarden, although I also like Simon Pagenaud and Marco Andretti. Racing Nation TV asks, if you could go back in history and watch one IndyCar race, which one would it be? Wow, another great question. It's along the same lines of the Cheerios Cup Series question, but it's a little bit different. So, one IndyCar race. Man, there's so many. I'd love to go back and see like a race at Phoenix. I love Phoenix. It's one of my favorite tracks. And I think back before they kind of put that shortcut in with the original dogleg, you know, that would be fun to see. If I had to pick one, it would probably be like an Indianapolis 500. You know, 95 Cleveland is one that I think I would love to go see again, or go see in person, or maybe even just go back to like a Indy 500 like 2005 or 2006, ones I actually attended, but were such amazing races that I'd love to go back and watch those again. So, great question, Racing Nation TV. Okay, Ia Nascar 48 asks, what do you like about the Indy 500, and how many NASCAR Authentics do you have? And he also asked whether I watched V8 Supercars. I'll answer the V8 Supercar question first. I would love to be a more avid follower of the V8 Supercars. I think it's one of the maybe 5 or 6 best racing series period in the entire world right now. It's just kind of hard as an American to watch an Australian-based series because they're on the other side of the globe, and so what that means is like if they have a race at 3 o'clock in the evening for them, it's 3 o'clock in the morning for us. And sometimes that's kind of hard to do without absolutely killing your sleep pattern to watch those races. It's hard enough for Formula One if I want to watch one of those races. So I kind of wish if there was a way to watch those, maybe like if Fox Sports or somebody tape delayed the races to a better American time viewing way. I'd love to be able to follow them a lot closer. I think Scott McLaughlin and a lot of those drivers are fantastic to watch. So, and then he asked, what do I like about the Indy 500? Well, what isn't there to like? I mean, it's the oldest consecutive running race in the entire world. It beats Milwaukee. It beats Le Mans. It's first. The history is fantastic. I mean, you guys surely have watched the races in the last couple of years. The competition, second to none, in terms of just the excitement of the races, fantastic. You know, and it's my home race. That's probably one of the other more important things about it to me. I mean, I have such a connection there. You know, when you walk in those gates, it's just there's nothing better. There's nothing better than the Indianapolis 500, I have to say. And how many NASCAR Authentics I have? Probably in the range of 60, 70, especially considering that I bought pretty much all of them last year, and that was probably 40 or 50 diecast just in terms of that. So, you know, counting the 2012 and 2013 cars, probably in the range of that. I haven't counted, but there you go. Ian Curtis asks, what do you prefer, NASCAR or IndyCar? Well, I think I've already kind of answered this, but again, IndyCar is my first love and, you know, my best love. You know, again, I've grown up with the sport. You know, like I said, the Indianapolis 500 was and is my home race. So, I mean, it's hard to choose against it. You know, I enjoy NASCAR quite a bit. Like I said before, you know, NASCAR's kind of gone down the dark path, and you know, hopefully they get their act together. Because IndyCar was pretty bad there, like in the 2009, 2010. I mean, I actually became more of a sports car fan in those days. I liked the American Le Mans Series better than IndyCar, and I'm free to admit that because the American Le Mans Series is dead and IndyCar is pretty awesome these days. So, yeah, right now I prefer IndyCar. NASCAR Checkered Flag Series asks, what got you into liking IndyCar? And CDS2488 also asked this. What got me into liking IndyCar, like I said before, it was my home race. And I grew up in the era where the IRL and kart, they split, alright? It was something that really hurt the sport, but it also, at the same time, helped my liking of it quite a bit, and I'll explain why. My dad actually helped broker a sponsorship deal with a team in the Indy Racing League. It was for John Paul Jr., the 18 car. It was Tennemic paints. So the first 2 years they ran with the John Paul Jr., and then in '96 they ran a Lola Buick in the '96 race. And then, you know, like, I got to see all this stuff, and Buddy Lazier became my favorite driver because he won the '96 race. And then in '97 they were going to run with John Paul Jr. again. John Paul gets hurt in practice, and they run with the race with Tice Carlson. The next year, Dad becomes the team manager of a team called Impke Racing. They run Tice Carlson again. They don't make the race. But you kind of grew up in that environment, for at least me, where you see a lot of racing, and we watched all the races. Some of my best memories, like early memories, are like Zanardi making the pass at Laguna Seca, or, you know, like Buddy Lazier winning the 500. And then there was the 3-wide finish in the Portland kart race, which I remember so fondly. It was like Raul Boesel, Gilles de Ferran, and Mark Blundell, and they go 3-wide in the rain down. I mean, that's just the kind of thing that just, I mean, as a kid, it just captures your imagination. So that's kind of why I like IndyCar. EPRL Monster Cup Series asks, which NASCAR track is your favorite, which IndyCar track is your favorite, and which NASCAR Authentics don't you have? Okay, NASCAR track that's my favorite. That's a tough one. There are a lot of different tracks that I like, and just a lot of tracks that NASCAR and everybody else goes to. I'd have to say, in terms of like the best race of the year, usually is Watkins Glen. I think that's probably one of the best NASCAR races every year. It's definitely the best circuit. You know, and just in terms of the way the Gen 6 cars race on the road courses these days, I mean, you can't beat it. So probably Watkins Glen. You know, I like the short ovals like Phoenix and Loudon, but the problem is they're just not very good NASCAR racing these days. IndyCar track, boy, that's a tough one. I'm going to take Indianapolis out of the equation because that's, you know, if I answer all these questions with Indianapolis, it's going to get really boring. So taking Indianapolis out of the equation, in terms of my favorite track for Indy cars, you know, I really enjoy St. Pete. I think it's a great layout. I'm trying to think of current ones that IndyCars race at. Pocono's fantastic. Fontana's great. Milwaukee. Just a lot of great tracks there. I couldn't really pick one. I mean, Indianapolis is probably my favorite. And what in terms of NASCAR Authentics, I don't have a lot of the rarer ones that they released at the beginning, like Kurt Busch's Shell, Jamie McMurray McDonald's, like the Gen 5 version, stuff like that I just don't have. I do actually have the Dollar General Joey Logano, which you probably guys know, but a lot of the other rare ones I just don't have. Okay, Caleb Knob asks, who are your favorite IndyCar drivers? What is your favorite NASCAR manufacturer? Who do you hope wins the Indy 500 this year? Pepsi or Coke? Zelda, Sonic, Mario, or Zelda? And what do you personally want Spin Master to make as a diecast this year? So, favorite IndyCar drivers I already answered. Newgarden, Pagenaud, Andretti. Favorite NASCAR manufacturer? Ford, definitely. Not just because they have some IndyCar connections. I know Chevy does too, but back when I was growing up it was Ford, not Chevy, which is the American representative. But Ford has the best looking cars. Who do I hope wins the Indy 500 this year? I always got to go with Marco Andretti. I think it would be amazing to see an Andretti win, and boy, oh boy, has he gotten so close the last few years. He probably should have won the race in 2013. Had it gone green and Dario not stuffed it in the wall, he probably would have won because Munoz and Kanaan, who were racing at the front, would have taken each other out or just taken each other out of contention. Pepsi or Coke? Depends. Depends on my preference. My actually favorite soda is like vanilla flavored. So like if I'm feeling like not really that sweet, I'll go with like a vanilla Coke. But if I really want a soda, and I think it's the best soda period, is like the vanilla Pepsi with the real sugar. Best soda ever. Sonic, Mario, or Zelda? Hard to choose because I don't really play like Nintendo. I know Sonic's a Sega character. I'd probably say Mario because I have some good memories playing like Game Boy games. And then what do I want Spin Master to make is a diecast this year? Kyle Larson. No doubt about it. Target Kyle Larson car. I mean, you can't go wrong with that. It'd be hard to make because money, but who knows. Mr. Cubby3 asks, what's your favorite color? What IndyCar 90s IndyCar scheme is your favorite? And WEC or IndyCar? I'll answer that last question first. The WEC, if you're not aware, is the World Endurance Championship. In my opinion, it's the purest form of racing there is in the entire world at the moment. Multiple manufacturers, multiple engine types, hybrid, non-hybrid cars, V8s, 4-cylinder, 6-cylinder, front engine, rear engine, mid-engine cars. It's fantastic technical diversity. Very exciting. It's so hard to choose. I'll probably say IndyCar, and I'll give IndyCar the edge just slightly because they're more fan accessible. That's the one thing holding the WEC back at the moment is fan accessibility. They go to these tracks out in the desert, like what is it? It's not Abu Dhabi, but the other one. The other one that they built. I can't remember. I'm sure somebody will tell me in the comments. They go to these like Grade 1 F1 tracks and they neglect stuff like Monza, Road Atlanta, Sebring. They don't go there. They don't go to these classic circuits that I think are better for the fans because they give a better race rather than just following oil money. So I would probably give IndyCar that slight edge because they still go to tracks like Milwaukee and Pocono, and places that the fans want to see racing done. Favorite color? Purple, because Buddy Lazier won his '96 Indianapolis 500 in a purple car. And so it would be a cop-out to say Buddy Lazier's is my favorite 90s IndyCar paint scheme, so I will say the Valvoline car that Robbie Gordon ran in 1996. Swipe TV asks, what is your favorite NASCAR and IndyCar paint scheme? The latter if you watch IndyCar. What would you like to see? Would you like to see NASCAR Authentics release trucks? Also, Jasper Cat Productions asked that question. NASCAR and IndyCar paint scheme, well, I already kind of answered that, but I assume you're asking about like this year. NASCAR, I have to go with like the Target car still. I mean, I think that's probably the best looking car out of the whole grid of NASCAR this year. In terms of IndyCar paint schemes, that's a tough one. I think Will Powers this year, it reminds me a lot of the old Newman Haas cars of the 90s. The Kmart Texaco ones looks fantastic, even with the logo on the engine cowling. What would you like to see NASCAR Authentics release trucks? Heck yeah. The problem is that the drivers are not well known. We'd run into the kind of the problem that the nationwide cars have had with releasing for NASCAR Authentics. You'd get just the Cuppies. It would be like, you know, just Logano. It would be a Logano truck, and it would be a Brad Keselowski truck. You know, you wouldn't get John West Townley is what I'm trying to say. And that's kind of the ones I would want to buy, like the actual truck drivers, not just the ones who are like the Cup drivers who come over. And that's what NASCAR Authentics has been releasing, at least for the nationwide ones, so there you go. Okay, Brendan Littell asks, who do you think will be the NASCAR Sprint Cup Series champion for 2015? Do you like Joey Logano? Why do you like NASCAR Authentics? 2015 NASCAR champion, hard to say, but it's hard to pick against Kevin Harvick. I think he might do a double repeat. I mean, he's doing so well in terms of the championship this year, but sentimentally, Jeff Gordon. I'd love to see that. Do I look like Joey Logano? Not really. He kind of suffers from like the spoiled rich kid thing that a lot of young up-and-coming race car drivers do these days. You know, I don't mind. I mean, look, I'm not naive. I know that money plays a big part in whether you race or whether you don't, but at least have some sort of humility. That's a problem that like Sage Karam and IndyCar has. It's just, you know, have some humility. You know, that's why I like Joseph Newgarden so much. You know, he comes from money, fine, but he doesn't act like it. So that's kind of the problem I have with Joey Logano. And why do I like NASCAR Authentics? Because they're cheap, available, and they don't make the silly errors that Lionel does. Oh, and Bart's 35 also asked about the Spin Master. Okay, Taylor Gore asks, who is your favorite NASCAR driver, and what's your favorite diecast of that driver? So, like I said, my favorite driver is Jeff Gordon. In terms of my favorite diecast, well, I actually do have one. It's a sentimental one. This is a box version. This isn't actually the original. But this car is a Jeff Gordon car from, I think, like 96 or something. But this is one of the first NASCAR diecasts I owned. It's the Rainbow Warriors paint scheme. And so just probably this one because of the sentimental value of it. So there you go. NASCAR is Awesome 14 asks, what's your favorite NASCAR Authentic of 2014? Oh, that's a tough one. I have to go with the NASCAR Icon segment Dale Earnhardt Wrangler jeans car. I love the classic NASCARs. I love the fact that they do those, and I have to say that's the one I want. Team Allegiant asks, what is your favorite NASCAR Authentics paint scheme you have? That's a tough one. I love the Zest car, the Ricky Stenhouse, I love the purple and the teal. Yeah, I have to say that one. I also really like the Napa 56 car that they released in 2012 of, who was that? Martin Truex. So those two, yeah, those are probably my favorite. Esther Velez asks, if there happens to be a NASCAR Authentics wave that is just duplicate cars we got early in the year, will you still review that wave or just skip it? I will probably skip it. I hope it doesn't come to that, though. What we saw with the Lost Wave is where they pack some repeats in there for Christmas. If we do see a repeat wave, it'll be around Christmas. I'm planning on doing like a year in review 2015 video this year. So if it happens to be that we get a repack wave, I'll just briefly cover it in like the year-end review video. Deal? Jonathan Zollerin, I think I pronounced that right. If I didn't, I'm sorry. Are there any NASCAR Authentics that you really want but don't have? What is your favorite music and favorite band? And are there any other sports than racing? Do you like any other sports than racing? And what are your favorite teams of those sports? Okay, so the first question, the NASCAR Authentics I want but don't have. Danica Nationwide car, I want that one. The Kurt Busch shell I want. The Jamie McMurray Gen 5 car I want. Stuff like that. In terms of my favorite genre of music and favorite band, I'd have to say classic rock, but I also enjoy like classical music, and I'm also getting into this thing called New Retro Wave, which is kind of a mix between 80s synth pop and dubstep. It's really cool, check it out. In terms of my favorite band, Van Halen. You can't go wrong with Van Halen. And then sports other than racing, I love, I like a good game of football, American football, for you people overseas, if there are any who are watching this video. Yeah, definitely American football, and my favorite team is the Colts. Hunter Bowen asks, what is your favorite sport beside NASCAR and IndyCar? And also, who is your favorite NASCAR up-and-coming NASCAR driver? Well, I answered the first question, NFL and the Colts. And then in terms of my favorite up-and-coming NASCAR driver, it has to be Kyle Larson. I know a lot of the popular choice is Chase Elliott. And I said it right, I didn't say Chase Austin. Yeah, Chase Elliott is the popular choice, but I think Larson is the harder driver. He reminds me, and I'm gonna hate to say this, Jeff Gordon. He reminds me a lot of Jeff Gordon. So, yeah, definitely Kyle Larson. Alright, 25 Epic Ninja asks the $1 million question, do you buy Lionel Diecast at all? No. That's the short answer to that. The long answer is coming next. Potato Egg NASCAR Roblox Productions, that is a mouthful and a half. Could you do more than just NASCAR Authentics like NASCAR Lionel? Alright, I'm going to answer this question. I'm going to do a toe in the water thing for Lionel Diecast, alright? That video will be coming later this year, and I'm going to do like a collector's guide to buying NASCAR diecasts. I'm going to pick a wave of Spin Masters, probably wave 1 of this year, and I'm going to buy each corresponding Lionel to that car. Then I'm going to put them side by side and compare them to each other. So that's going to be my toe in the water thing for Lionel diecasts. You know, and if that video is successful and you guys really do want to see more Lionels from me, the thing is that Lionels, a lot of people already do them on YouTube. I mean, Robbie Noonan, my friend, I mean, he does like every single one that comes out and is really up to date on it. So, I mean, you know, I don't know what I would contribute to doing Lionel reviews, but if you guys really would want me to do those, definitely let me know. And there will be Lionel content coming to the channel soon. If you could, would you review Lionel cars or Greenlight? Well, I answered the first question. I will be doing something with Lionels down the line. In terms of Greenlight, you know, a lot of people have been asking me about this. So, oh, and that's Kyle Fan 4218. In terms of Indy cars, if you guys don't already know, if you're kind of new, if you've kind of subscribed in the last year, I do this thing in May called Indy 500 month. It's kind of a thing where I put all the video I shoot at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway for the Indy 500 all into kind of a package, and I do that all May. So I was thinking about one of the videos I will do for Indy 500 month, and again, it'll be a toe in the water thing to see how it goes, is do an unboxing and review of the first wave of Greenlight IndyCar 164s. So that's something to look forward to in May. So yeah, that'll be my toe in the water, and if that video is successful and well received, then I'll do more. Denton Hall asks, show us all your NASCAR collection and later on do Indy cars. Well, I answered the second part of that just in the last question. I will be doing Indy cars this year, and if that goes well, then I will be doing more. In terms of showing off the NASCAR collection, I think that's something I'll be doing at the end of the year once I have all the 2015 Spin Masters, so I can kind of show like kind of a blanket of everything, and I know that will probably be a popular video based on the thumbnail that it will have. NASCAR Lover asks something along the same line, which is how many NASCARs do you have? Well, I estimated that in terms of NASCAR Authentics I have 60 to 70, and then in terms of just overall that my entire collection, which I pretty much have all of, like my childhood NASCARs, they're in storage, but I do have them, probably around 150 to 200. Just in terms of NASCARs. You know, they're in various states of condition, but probably around 150 to 200. NASCAR 88 asks, what do you do with all your NASCARs? And you should write every one of your subscribers down and ship all your cars out to people you pull out of a container. Well, to answer the first question, what do I do with all my NASCARs? Well, seeing as my living conditions are a little bit strange at the moment, I can't really display them anywhere, so they kind of just go in a box after I get done with doing a video on them. But I'd love to display them or something later on down the line. In terms of your second part of your question, I'm kind of confused. I think you're asking about giveaways, and I'll address that later on in this video. Jamie Nichols asks, do you have the Kurt Busch Shell Spin Master 164? I do not. It's one of the crown jewels, the holy grails of my personal Spin Master collection. I'd love to have one, but they're very hard to find and very expensive when you do. Elijah White asks, do you think you could do a giveaway one day? Alright, this is something I'm going to address. I'm not sure in terms of giveaways what I can and can't do on YouTube, seeing as most of you guys are under 18, and since I'm over 18, there's some law or something against doing that or something like that. I haven't really looked into it because I haven't really been interested in doing a giveaway. I know a lot of people like want free stuff, and I understand that, but at this point I'm not planning any giveaways because it's kind of logistically hard to do. Later on down the line, maybe we could look at doing that, but right now, that's not in the plan. Mr. Doozaman asks, when will you open your Kickstarter to send you to Germany, David? Well, first of all, that's an inside joke, and everyone tell Eric he's an asshole, because that's my friend Eric, and he is exactly what that says. But I will address the Kickstarter thing, and it goes along with the giveaways. Kickstarter, to me, Kickstarter projects have kind of been ruined. They kind of got ruined the day that rich and famous people started doing them. Because the idea behind a Kickstarter is somebody without a lot of money, me, would be kind of the target for somebody to do a Kickstarter, asks for money, people give them to it, and then you do a project based on the Kickstarter money that you make from that. The problem is that it's kind of been ruined, and honestly it sounds like begging, and I don't really want to beg you guys for money. If I ever wanted to do something like shirts or something where it's a direct thing where you buy a David Land shirt and I ship that to you, you know, that to me, I'm providing you with a service. That's what I'm doing here on YouTube. I'm providing you with entertainment content, and you guys are providing me with viewership and a little bit of ad revenue. So that's kind of where that lies. A Kickstarter kind of, I mean, unless I had something really awesome to offer you guys, I wouldn't do a Kickstarter. So just addressing that point too. All right, Frelin Simpson asks, do you play Minecraft? I used to. I played some Minecraft on the Xbox 360 when it came out. You know, I think the problem with Minecraft these days is that they've made it too complicated. I really enjoyed it when it was just really you walking around the woods and trying to build houses. Now they've got like all these different biomes and all this. Yeah, it's too complicated, and I would appreciate if they just kind of, if they simplified it again, I would probably play, but they've just added too much stuff to it. Fatima Sylvania Miterdi, I hope I did not pronounce that right. What is your favorite video game? There are a lot. I mean, I'm not that big of a gamer. You know, looking at me, people are like, well, that nerd's a gamer. But really, I'm not that big of a gamer. Like, growing up, I played stuff like one of the Papyrus NASCAR games, like NASCAR 98 or NASCAR 99. I also played like Dodge Viper Racing. That one was fun because you could like put a cheat code on where you shot a ball at the other cars, and the damage model was really awesome, and the crash physics were really cool. And I also played like Episode 1 Racer. That was fun. Let's see, in terms of like more modern video games, I enjoyed Star Wars Battlefront quite a bit. Like Halo Reach, I played a lot of. And then like I play Grand Theft Auto 5 now, and then, but mostly my stuff is like racing sims, from like the kind of softcore stuff, which is like Forza and Gran Turismo, and then all the way up to like R Factor, and I like to get into iRacing. I'd actually like to start an iRacing series sometime, when I have a little bit more dinero that I could invest into that. So stay tuned, maybe. Joe Donahue asks, what is your favorite Piston Cup racer, favorite turn at Indianapolis, favorite IndyCar team, favorite CFL team, and where's the beef? In terms of where's the beef, I think it's in the freezer. I'm not really that big of a cook, so I'm not really sure where the beef is. CFL team? I don't know. I watch the NFL. The CFL? I don't know. Isn't there like a team like the Thunder? I'll just say Toronto. How about that? Does Toronto have a team? Favorite IndyCar team? Probably Andretti Autosport, in terms of like the biggest contribution they've made to the sport. Favorite turn to Indianapolis? Turn 3. That's where I sit. I've sat every year since 2002 and will continue to sit there. Favorite Piston Cup racer? I have a soft spot for any Dynaco sponsored ones. Actually, my first Cars diecast was the King, but in terms of like paint scheme, probably Bumper Save, but also Nitro Aid. Alright, McKeon Wilson asks, what is your favorite animal? Well, your profile picture kind of gives it away. In terms of like domestic animals, cat, definitely. I'm a cat person. I like cats better than dogs. But in terms of like exotic animals, again, like I kind of am down the cat way. I like tigers and lions and stuff like that. But probably in terms of the most interesting is something that's technically extinct, called the thylacine, or the Tasmanian tiger. That's probably the most interesting thing to me. It's technically extinct, but some of us believe that it's still around. Oh yeah, he also asked what my blood type was. I think I'm O positive, which is like the most common blood type and the least interesting, so sorry to disappoint. Keystone Productions asks, what truck are you sitting in? Referring to the truck I was sitting in the introduction video. What is your dream car to own? And what do you do with your life besides watch motor racing and collect diecast? Alright, what kind of a truck I have is a Chevy S10. It's a 2002, the extended cab. It's a really nice truck. I really enjoy it. I've had a few mechanical troubles with it, but aside from that, you know, it's a great vehicle. It gets me from point A to point B. It looks nice. Hard to complain about it. In terms of my dream car, GT40. I love the 1966 version because that is essentially, well, what it is a road-going race car. I mean, that's what the Le Mans, I think it was the Group 5, no, not Group 5, it's like prototype, or Sports 5000 regs for Le Mans back in the day. Those, you know, that's what was built. It's a GT40 is a Lola chassis with a NASCAR engine in it. So to me, that's, in terms of a modern car, it'd probably be the Ford GT. So that's kind of my dream car. That's what I would want. What do you do with your life? Well, geez, let's go down the list. You know, outside of motor racing and collecting diecast, I actually do enjoy film quite a bit. I enjoy watching film. I enjoy making films. And I enjoy analyzing films. My favorite film is Star Wars: The Empire Strikes Back. I'm a huge Star Wars nerd. So stuff like that I really enjoy. I also worked on a newspaper staff in high school and in college, though I was probably more interested in the race cars on the computer screen and the girls in the classroom. But I digress. You know, I kind of can write. I don't really like to write. It's kind of hard for me too, but I do like sometimes telling stories. I'd love to actually race myself, though I don't have the money for it, so I mean, I would be doing that. I guess that's not technically watching motor racing. I also just enjoy traveling. You know, again, it kind of goes down the motor racing thing where I like to drive, but sometimes I'll just pick a direction and just drive in it and see what I hit. I'm also kind of interested in like retail and stuff, in terms of if you kind of like go to like a Kmart store, like an older looking Kmart store, and you kind of like look at the stuff like what's just old and stuff like that. And I actually have videos like on my channel of me like exploring old abandoned gas stations. It's kind of interesting. It's kind of like time traveling. So kind of stuff like that, just like travel, filmmaking, you know, and driving. Jack Leslie asks, did I vote for Obama? Well, I will answer it this way. I didn't vote for Oprah. Luke Phil asks, who is your favorite Star Trek captain? And he adds he likes Kirk. I have to agree with you. Captain Kirk, in terms of captain, I'd have to say is my favorite to watch. You know, he's definitely the most human captain Star Trek has ever had because he makes mistakes and he sometimes wears his heart on his sleeve, and sometimes I feel like that's the most relatable. In terms of best captain, it's got to probably be Jean-Luc Picard. Because he just always seems to have his head on his shoulders and always puts the mission first. But in terms of like the captain that I kind of feel like is relatable and interesting to watch, the most interesting one to watch is definitely Captain Kirk. And the final question is, Nicholas Markham asks, when is Wave 2 going to be out? You know, in the very introduction video, I asked one thing. Don't ask me when Wave 2 is coming out. Nicholas, you done goofed. But since I am a forgiving YouTuber, a forgiving person, you know, I actually was just told, just recently, I just went online and I was told by Spin Master when Wave 2 is coming out. So it is coming out.